a man with 4 Super Bowl rings, a man who should one day be in Canton, Ohio. Tom Flores joins us on the Rich Eisen Show. Tom, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Andrew. Where you been? You've been all over the world, huh?
I'm traveling. It's the off season, although technically it isn't the off season. You know that it never truly ends. It's not the off season until after the draft, but just trying to get around and stay out of trouble, you know?
Well, nowadays with cell phones, there is no off season.
That is correct. Matter of fact, we just get this on the cell phone as we're talking. The Panthers announced successful surgery for Cam Newton. So, of course, it's successful. Wow. No one ever announces unsuccessful surgery. Tom, you kind of knew this day was coming Monday. Did you think it was going to be an almost unanimous vote?
I was surprised. And I was surprised who the one dissenting vote was. Miami, of all places. I mean, I don't even get that one. I thought the dissenting vote would be Mike Brown. He always votes against everything. But I don't know. It just. But anyway, it's kind of a sad and exciting day for me. Sad because I started out with the Raiders back in the AFL days, and so I've been. I think the Raiders belong in Oakland, but unfortunately, not going to happen.
Are you going to Vegas?
Well, I'm not going to go. I just fly in for the games anyway. I live in Palm Springs right now, and so I just fly in for the Raider games. But when I fly into Oakland, it brings back many memories when you fly in there and see all the people and game day and all the crazy people in the parking lot. It's Halloween every Sunday there.
And Halloween, they say, would be moving to Vegas as well, but it seems to me they're just relying too much, Tom, this is my opinion, on the idea that fans are going to get on a plane. And I've never actually heard from the Raiders what percentage of people in the Coliseum on an average Sunday are people that got off the plane off a Southwest flight that morning and walked over or took the bus over. Do you have any idea what that number is?
No, I don't. I'm sure they do, but I don't. But I know there's a lot of them because I've flown up at times on Saturdays through and been the planes that I've flown up in were maybe 3/4 full of Raider fans. Right. And then game day that morning, a lot of them fly up from L.A. and so it's going to be different. There's no question because. It's not going to be. We know how will the black holes, how will that transform or change? The great people that barbecuing in the parking lots before the games. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to have to change.
It's great. Tom Flores joining us on the Rich Eisen Show. I'm Andrew Siciliano. I think it's going to be awkward. I was talking to Donald Penn yesterday, and he knows it's going to be awkward. This is unprecedented. The Browns didn't leave or announce they're leaving and stay in Cleveland for 2 years. The Colts didn't announce they're leaving and stay in Baltimore for 2 years. Same goes for the Rams or the Cardinals or anyone else who has moved. This is going to be unprecedented and awkward. Do you think people will stay away? Do you think people will just say, Tom, my heart hurts too much. I know this is a good team, but I just can't bear to go.
Yeah, I think so. I think some will. How many, time will tell. And a lot has to do with how good the team is. And right now the team's pretty good and on their way up. But still, there's some going to be angry, some are going to be sad, some are going to be in between, and some will stay away. And some people, there'll be seats available for those that have maybe never been to a game before and have a chance to. But it's going to be different. When we moved to L.A., and I was the head coach then, we had a place to play immediately, the Coliseum. But the first year there, we actually practiced in Oakland and played in L.A.
But
That's a possibility, yeah.
Do you think it's going to be tenable? Do you think they're going to have to find an interim home, or you think 2 years in Oakland actually could work, Tom?
Well, there again, I think if the team is winning, then people are going to want to come and share that part of it. You know, the Raider fans are unique in that respect. They're all over the country, wherever you go. But how many? I don't know. I can't answer that. I really can't.
So in other words, it almost, and I hate to use the more pressure cliche because I don't think there's any more of a cliche in sports than how much pressure is on your team because of X or Y. But in essence, it's you better win because if you don't, it could get ugly.
Well, the just win, baby, cliche, but Al Davis quoted years ago, that's going to really come into play this year.
Tom, what do you think Al would have thought of this?
I think he would have been for and against. He loved Vegas. He always did like Vegas, and I think he probably thought that someday there would be a franchise in Vegas. He had a lot of vision for the future, so he would have probably embraced it maybe at some point. But at some point, you have to realize, hey, Oakland, that place is falling apart. I mean, it's just crumbling.
It's crumbling. San Diego's Qualcomm was crumbling. They had to get stadiums, however they would do it, for both of those teams, and now both of those teams are relocating. If you were still the coach, Tom, pretend you're the coach again, how would you deal with players in Vegas? How would that work?
Well, you're not going to change what you do on within the complex in a compound. I mean, within the compound of your team, where you practice, where you meet, and all that doesn't change because it's still football, and you're still, the field is still the same length. And they're going to have a dome stadium and all that stuff. What's going to change is what you do on your spare time. That's going to be uniquely different, and that you have to address with the players. And players have changed a lot since I was coaching. When we went to L.A., they changed, and eventually they started changing their personality a little bit, not so much on the field, but off the field. And it's going to be a big change for them. They're going to have to make some adjustments, and along with the guidance from the league, and where you go and where you don't go, and how you behave.
I mean, there's so many league issues here. I saw Jack Del Rio said, listen, I was a rookie in New Orleans. You can get in trouble in New Orleans as well. I heard another coach say, I'm more concerned with assistant coaches in free time than players in free time in Las Vegas, which made me laugh here as well. But, Tom, as league employees, we're not supposed to go into casinos with sports books during the season. I mean, you would have to think just from logistics, you probably can't stay if you're the visiting team, and I'm thinking out loud here, in one of the big hotels on the Strip with a sports book.
Well, I don't know if is there a hotel without a sports bar in Vegas anywhere?
Well, without books there are, yes, but I can't think of a hotel without at least blackjack tables in the lobby.
Yeah. Well, that's when I was a player in the '60s, we played a preseason game down in Vegas, and it's kind of funny because we were playing the Houston Oilers at the time, and we both teams stayed at the same hotel. And before the game, as we were waiting for the buses to leave, we were gambling at the same blackjack table. We said, "All right, buses leaving," so we all ran to the buses, and they said, "Don't get hurt. Don't call too many timeouts, so we can get back here after the
game." Because hey, it's the preseason.
Yeah, that was preseason, yeah.
Tom Flores joins us, Raider analyst, 2 more years in Oakland, and then it is moving on to Las Vegas. Hey, real quick here, Tom, I want to get your thoughts on some of the rule changes that we had earlier in the week here, notably replay all going to New York, whether Dean Blandino or Al Riveron or whomever else is up there in the command center at 345 Park. You cool with that?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with it. It was eventually going to happen. They're involved in it anyway a little bit. They might as well get totally involved, and that's what they do for a living.
And what do you think of it's not necessarily a new rule, but the added emphasis, a point of emphasis, as the league calls them every year, to tell officials that if you think there is a blatantly egregious hit, you kick that guy out right then and there?
Yeah, well, I kind of agree with that. I think they should have the ability. If they don't have the ability and authority to do that, then the players aren't going to care until somebody makes that an issue, and it has to be blatant and egregious. But I think they should have the authority to do that. Yeah.
And finally, do you care that we can no longer jump over the long snapper?
No, it was only a matter of time before that center was going to step up, and raise himself, and then that guy was going to end up on his head. So I think it was inevitable that they were going to change that.
So you do think it's a legitimate player safety issue?
Yeah, I sure do.
All right, finally, Derek Carr says he's doing well. He should be back. We had him on NFL Network a couple of days ago. Tom, is this, considering the offseason moves so far, is this, in your eyes, a Super Bowl caliber team?
I think it's headed that way. I really do. I think there's a couple of more pieces that have to be put in place, but it's certainly headed that way because with Carr, Mack, and some of the recent draft choices, They have the pieces in place. They need a little bit more help on defense, put a little bit more pressure on them. But they're not bad. They're pretty good. They're fun to watch now.
Do you think Marshawn Lynch will be one of those pieces come September?
I don't know. He's always used to say, off camera, whenever. That's kind of funny. He always used to say, when did he say that? I have no idea when he said it because he never talked. Anyway, that he's from Oakland anyway, that he'd like to finish his career in Oakland. So that's always a possibility. You never know.
He's a perfect Raider. I think it would be awesome.
Yeah,
I think football's a better place with Marshawn Lynch in it. And if he has anything left in the tank, and I do think he probably does want to take one more crack at it, why not Oakland? I think it adds another character for Jack Del Rio to deal with, makes the storyline that much more interesting this year. Tom, appreciate the time. Appreciate, sir, as always, the candor. Enjoy Palm Springs in the offseason. Hope to see you soon.
All right, you got it.
Tom Flores, former coach of the Raiders, should be in the Hall of Fame one of these days as well.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.